Several men were in the locker room of the gym when a cell phone on a bench rang and a man put it on speaker and begins to talk. Everyone in the room stopped to listen. Man: Hello? Woman: Hi, honey. It's me. Are you at the club? Man: Yes. Woman: I'm at the shops now and found this beautiful leather coat. It's only $2,000. Is it okay if I buy it? Man: Sure. Go ahead if you like that much. Woman: I also stopped by the Lexus dealership and saw the new models. I saw one that I really liked. Man: How much? Woman: $90,000. Man: Okay, but for that price I want it with all options. Woman: Great. Oh, and one more thing. I was just talking to Jane and found out that the house I wanted last year is back on market. They are asking $980,000 for it. Man: Well, then go ahead and offer $900,000. They'll probably take it. If not, we can go to the extra $80,000 if that's what you really want. Woman: Okay, see you later. I love you too much. Man: Bye, I love you too. The man hung up. The other men in the locker room were staring at him in astonishment, mouths wide open. He turned and asked, Anyone knows whose phone is this? A husband and wife were driving through Louisiana. As they approached Natchitoches, they started arguing about the pronunciation of the town. They argued back and forth, then they stopped for lunch. At the counter, the husband asked the blonde waitress, Before we order, could you please settle an argument for us? Would you please pronounce where we are very slowly? She leaned over the counter and said, Burger King. Two homeless men are devising a plan to get free drinks at a bar. The first one has an idea. We'll buy a hot dog and stick it down your pants, walk into the bar, get our drinks, drink, and when the bartender asks for his money, you pull down your pants and I suck on the hot dog that you put down there. He'll kick us out, and we won't have to pay. It's brilliant. The second man agrees, and they do this in the first bar where it works just as planned. Then they hit up 4 more bars, and the first man says, This is great getting all these free drinks. The other man replies, Yeah, especially because the hot dog fell out at the first bar. A man sees his doctor about terrible headaches he has had for most of his adult life. The doctor isn't sure what is going on, so arranges a scan. The scan comes back as normal, so the doctor refers the man to a neurologist who is also unable to find a cause, though does offer some advice. I did meet one man who had similar headaches. The only thing that helped was having his testicles surgically removed, he explains. Exasperated, the man goes home to his wife. Well, they are really getting you down. You don't think it might be worth considering? After a few weeks, the man concedes and goes in to have both testicles removed. He wakes up in the recovery area and gets dressed to go home. Miraculously, the headaches have gone. The man skips out of the hospital and into his car. On his way home, he is celebrating this revelation and the start of a new, headacheless chapter of his life. Giddy with happiness and relief, he decides to buy a new suit. If I feel the part, I might as well look the part too, he thinks to himself. He goes to a fancy tailor who begins to measure him up. Inside leg 31 inches, waist 34 inches. No, interrupts the man. I'm a 30-inch inside leg, always have been. The tailor raises an eyebrow and replies, Sir, we can cut it to that size, but you might find it pinches your balls and gives you headaches. Mr. Smith and his wife had been trying for years to have a baby, but with no luck. Finally, they decided to use a surrogate father. The morning the man was supposed to arrive, he was getting ready to leave for work. He gave his wife a kiss and said, Well, honey, I'm off to work. The man should be here any minute. Half an hour later, by pure coincidence, a door-to-door baby photographer, new to the area, rang the doorbell. Good morning, ma'am, he said cheerfully. I've come to... Oh, no need to explain, said Mrs. Smith, flustered. I've been expecting you. You have, said the photographer, surprised but pleased. Well, that's great. Did you know babies are my specialty? That's what my husband and I were hoping for, she said nervously. Please come in. Once inside, she blushed and asked, So, where do we start? The photographer smiled. Don't worry, ma'am. I usually try 2 in the bathtub, 1 on the couch, and maybe a few on the bed. Sometimes the living room floor works best. You can really spread out there. Mrs. Smith's jaw dropped. She thought to herself, The living room floor? No wonder it never worked out for my husband and me. He continued. Of course, I can't guarantee a perfect one every time. But if I try several positions and shoot from 6 or 7 angles, I'm sure you'll be satisfied with the results. 6 or 7 angles? Gasped Mrs. Smith. Well, in my line of work, you can't rush. I'd love to be in and out in 5 minutes, but you'd be disappointed with that. Mrs. Smith murmured, Don't I know it? The photographer opened his case and pulled out a portfolio. Oh my goodness, Mrs. Smith exclaimed. And these twins turned out great, he added. Though their mother was tough to work with. I finally had to take her several times to get the job done right. Yes, ma'am. It took over 3 hours. The mother was yelling. I was sweating, and I knew it was time to pack it in. Mrs. Smith gasped. True story, said the photographer. Anyway, if you're ready, I'll just set up my tripod and we can get started. Tripod? She squeaked. Oh, yes, ma'am. I need a tripod to hold my Canon. It's far too big to handle by hand for very long. The old priest lay dying in the hospital. For years, he had faithfully served the people of the nation's capital. He motioned for his nurse to come near. Yes, Father, said the nurse. I would really like to see Harry Reid and Nancy Pelosi before I die, whispered the priest. I'll see what I can do, Father, replied the nurse. The nurse sent the request to them and waited for a response. Soon the word arrived. Harry and Nancy would be delighted to visit the priest. As they went to the hospital, Harry commented to Nancy, I don't know why the old priest wants to see us, but it will certainly help our images. Nancy couldn't help but agree. When they arrived at the priest's room, the priest took Nancy's hand in his right hand and Harry's hand in his left. There was silence and a look of serenity on the old priest's face. Finally, Nancy spoke. Father, of all the people you could have chosen, why did you choose us to be with you as you near the end? The old priest slowly replied, I have always tried to pattern my life after our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. The old priest continued, He died between 2 lying thieves. I would like to do the same. After 35 years of marriage, a husband and wife came for counseling. When asked what the problem was, the wife went into a tirade listing every problem they had ever had in the years they had been married. On and on and on. Neglect, lack of intimacy, emptiness, loneliness, feeling unloved and unlovable. An entire laundry list of unmet needs she had endured. Finally, after allowing this for a sufficient length of time, the therapist got up, walked around the desk, and after asking the wife to stand, he embraced and kissed her long and passionately as her husband watched, with a raised eyebrow. The woman shut up and quietly sat down in a daze. The therapist turned to the husband and said, This is what your wife needs at least 3 times a week. Can you do this? Well, I can drop her off here on Mondays and Wednesdays, but on Fridays I fish. 3 British soldiers gruesomely wounded in Afghanistan meet the Queen, who wishes to reward them for their loyal service. The first soldier is in a wheelchair. He has very long arms. The Queen takes one look at him and says, Measure this man from fingertip to fingertip and pay him £1,000 for every inch. The man stretches out his arms as wide as he can. The royal tailor measures him, and they pay him 72,000 pounds. The second soldier is blind. He has extraordinarily long legs. The queen takes one look at him and says, "Measure this man from his head to his toes and pay him 1,000 pounds for every inch." The royal tailor measures him, and they pay him 76,000 pounds. The third man looks perfectly healthy and absolutely average in every way. The queen says, "And you, sir, how would you like to be compensated?" The man says, "From the tip of my penis to the base of my testicles, Your Majesty." The queen arches an eyebrow and her eyes twinkle in amusement. "Very well. Measure this man from the tip of his penis to the base of his testicles and pay him 1,000 pounds for every inch." The royal tailor squats in front of the man and arranges his tape measure, but then he stops. "Where are your testicles?" "Last time I saw them, Afghanistan." A housewife takes a lover during the day while her husband is at work, not aware that 9-year-old son was hiding in the closet. Her husband came home unexpectedly, so she hid her lover in the closet. The boy now has company. Boy: "Dark in here?" Man: "Yes, it is." Boy: "I have a baseball." Man: "That's nice." Boy: "Want to buy it?" Man: "No thanks." Boy: "That's my dad outside." Man: "How much did you say the baseball was again?" Boy: $250. In the next few weeks, it happens again that the boy and the mom's lover are in the closet together. Boy: "Dark in here." Man: "Yes, it is." Boy: "I have a baseball glove." Man: "That's nice." Boy: "Want to buy it?" Man: "No thanks." Boy: "I think I just remembered something I needed to tell my dad." Man: "How much did you say the glove was again?" Boy: $750. Man: "Fine." A few days later, the father says to the boy, "Grab your glove, let's go outside and toss the baseball." The boy says, "I can't. I sold them." The father asks, "How much did you sell them for?" The son says, $1,000. The father says, "It's terrible to overcharge your friends like that. That is way more than those two things cost. I'm going to take you to church and make you confess." They go to church, and the father alerts the priest and makes the little boy sit in the confession booth and closes the door. The boy says, "Dark in here." The priest says, "Do not start that again." Two Newfies, guys from Newfoundland, are robbing a house. One of them is upstairs, and after dropping a big lamp, he hears the home's owner get up to investigate the noise. As he gets close, the robber goes, "Meow," imitating a cat. Then he hears the guy grumbling, "God damn it, stupid cat," and go back to bed. When he meets his accomplice downstairs, who asks him what that noise was, he said, "Dude, we almost go caught because I dropped a lamp and the guy woke up. Fortunately, I made him believe it was the cat." So after a few minutes, the other robber then goes upstairs to continue checking for valuables. But he knocks over a bookshelf that crashes to the ground. He panics when he hears the homeowner getting up to investigate, so he hides in the closet. The owner enters the room and yells, "Who's there?" So the Newfie in the closet answers, It's the cat." Walmart recently installed a medical kiosk, and for $10 it would diagnose any condition through a urine sample. When my friend went with a sore elbow, the computer printout read, "You have tennis elbow. Soak it in warm water and avoid heavy work for 2 weeks." Impressed, my friend wondered if he could fool the machine. He mixed tap water with dog crap, urine samples from his wife and daughter, and then pleasured himself into the mixture. When he put the sample into the machine the next day, the printout read, 1. Your tap water is too hard. Use softener. 2. Your dog has ringworm. Give it antibiotics. 3. Your daughter is on cocaine. Get her to rehab. 4. Your wife is expecting twins. Not yours. Get a lawyer. 5. If you keep playing with yourself, your tennis elbow won't get better. Thank you for shopping at Walmart. A plane leaves Los Angeles airport under the control of a Jewish captain. His co-pilot is Chinese. It's the first time they've flown together, and an awkward silence between the two seems to indicate a mutual dislike. Once they reach cruising altitude, the Jewish captain activates the autopilot, leans back in his seat, and mutters, "I don't like Chinese." "No like Chinese," asks the co-pilot. "Ah, why not?" "You people bombed Pearl Harbor, that's why?" Angrily answers the pilot. No, the co-pilot protests. "Chinese not bomb Pearl Harbor. That Japanese not Chinese. Japanese, Chinese, Vietnamese. Doesn't matter, you're all alike." There's a few minutes of silence. "I no like Jews either," the co-pilot suddenly announces. "Oh yeah, why not?" asks the captain. "Jews sink Titanic." "What? That's insane! Jews didn't sink the Titanic," exclaims the captain. "It was an iceberg. Iceberg, Goldberg, Greenberg, Rosenberg, no matter. All same." A drunk man who smelled like beer sat down on a subway seat next to a priest. The man's tie was stained, his face was plastered with red lipstick, and a half-empty bottle of gin was sticking out of his torn coat pocket. He opened his newspaper and began reading. After a few minutes, the man turned to the priest and asked, "Say, Father, what causes arthritis?" "My son, it's caused by loose living, too much alcohol, and a contempt for your fellow man." "Well, I'll be," the drunk muttered, returning to his paper. The priest, thinking about what he had said, nudged the man and apologized. "I'm very sorry. I didn't mean to come on so strong. How long have you had arthritis?" "I don't have it, Father." "I was just reading here that the Pope does." The 6th grade science teacher, Mrs. Parks, asked her class, "Which human body part increases to 10 times its size when stimulated?" No one answered until little Mary stood up and said, "You should not be asking 6th graders a question like that. I'm going to tell my parents, and they will go and tell the principal, who will then fire you." Mrs. Parks ignored her and asked the question again. "Which body part increases to 10 times its size when stimulated?" Little Mary's mouth fell open. Then she said to those around her, "Boy, is she going to get in big trouble." The teacher continued to ignore her and said to the class, "Anybody?" Finally, Billy stood up, looked around nervously, and said, "The body part that increases 10 times its size when stimulated is the pupil of the eye." Mrs. Parks said, "Very good, Billy," then turned to Mary and continued, "As for you, young lady, I have 3 things to say. 1, you have a dirty mind. 2, you didn't read your homework. And 3, one day you are going to be very, very disappointed."